Blog Talk Radio.
You know what time it is. Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop. Hang with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Guys, Season 4 is still going strong, guys. The second episode of Season 4. Make sure you go check out the website, thebigscoopwithcoop.com, where you can actually check out episodes from Season 1 all the way up to Season 4. You can also catch me, of course, live on Blog Talk Radio. So tell all your family, friends, associates, even the people you don't like, let them know too, because they need a little entertainment in their life also. So make sure they tune in to Blog Talk Radio / The Big Scoop with Coop. Tune in Radio, Stitcher Radio. Facebook. Facebook / The Big Scoop with Coop, or just Google me, guys. You'll find me. But today's enough about me, guys. But today, oh boy, let me tell you about this actress that I have on. When I say she has done television and movie, she has done television and movie, doing real big in the television industry, doing real big in the movie industry. If you're a fan of the shows of Better Call Saul, also The Ridiculous Six, also she actually done Shot Caller 2. She has done a lot. ABC's Killer Woman. She's been in Breaking Bad. She has actually done so much, and also Preacher. That is a hot show. But guys, enough about me. Ladies and gentlemen, well, enough about me talking, so let's go and bring on the guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Sarah Minnich. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Coop. I'm so glad to be here, and I loved your intro. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, how you feeling the heat in New Mexico right now?
Oh, my gosh. It was so hot yesterday. I was doing a photo shoot, and I was just out there dying. I thought all the models were going to pass out. I thought it was going to be like, model down.
Well, you can call that magazine, that shoot, On the Floor magazine, because everybody will be on the floor from that heat. So, trust me. Yes, I'm in North Carolina, so the heat index is in the hundreds right now. So it's probably about 101 degrees outside right now as we speak. So I definitely feel you, but I think you got a little bit worse than me because Mexico, oh gosh, I know your heat index is up there. So make sure you stay cool through this interview, Sarah.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, I'm in the air-conditioned house, so I can't complain.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. Now, Sarah, on this show, we do talk about how you started in your career, your success, give advice how to get into your career, and much more. So people are listening worldwide right now, Sarah, and they want to know, first and foremost, when did you realize that you wanted to become an actress?
Well, usually for this question, I tell people, well, I've been in front of the camera literally since the moment I was born. Like, picture my dad and my mom in the delivery room, and my mom screaming her head off, and my dad's in there with a camera just like, I got the best shot right now. Here comes the head. And he's just filming everything, which is, I guess, kind of grotesque. But I was always in front of the camera. My dad's a photographer, and I ended up being with a photographer. That's just kind of my thing. But it actually, I can pinpoint the acting part of my career to back in 2005, 2006, when I did the film Spring Break Massacre. And that's one of those sort of, the title explains it all.
Of course.
A bunch of teenage or college co-eds go on spring break and they all get murdered. And but the thing about that made me really want to be an actress is this is the first time that I was ever on set as a lead, and the first time that I really got to kind of sink my teeth into a character. And although the character wasn't one of great depth, she's a scream queen, it was still quite an experience. And I remember being on set, and I think we actually shot in Illinois, and I remember being on set just thinking, this is is what I'm meant for. This is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to be in front of the camera. I'm meant to be an actress. I'm meant to speak to people through the screen and try to express the human experience and emotion and sort of reality, but from that perspective, to the masses. That's what I was meant to do, and I'm going to keep trying until I die. I'm just going to keep doing it.
It's funny you said that because, I mean, you were born in the camera. You're talking about dying in the camera. So, I mean, your whole life will be in front of that camera. So, I mean, from
really
surprise from your world. So, I mean, you're doing it. You're doing it well. I will say that. And you know what? Even though from the fact that you was in the camera when you were 1 second old, all the way up to now, I believe, you know, even in 2005 when you actually jumped into that movie, and I believe you had that feeling right then, like you said, that this was for you. And a lot of people, I believe myself, that people see things on television and they say, hey, I can act. But when the camera gets on them, that's when they get camera shocked and they don't know how to take it. So congratulations on that, Sarah. I mean, it shows that you are ready for, and your resume speaks for itself. So I just want to give you big shout outs to you in on this. Yes. Oh yeah. Do you have any mentors that that help guide you through your career to where you are today?
Oh yeah. I mean, goodness, I really have to give a lot of credit to my father. He was an entertainer when he was younger. He was part of a band that was popular in Southern California called Santa Fe. And he was always a performer, always one of those that could stand in front of a crowd and keep them captivated. And he taught me how to be confident in myself in front of a crowd, in front of a camera. He taught me how to be okay with it. Because, as you said, a lot of folks get up in front of a camera and the second that it starts rolling, they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm really thankful that I don't have that problem at all. In fact, I tend to thrive in front of a camera. I enjoy it. There's something about that spotlight. But back to what I was saying, I really owe a lot to my dad. And in terms of acting influences, or are you talking specifically about personal mentors, or do you also mean like actors that influenced me?
Oh, all the way around.
Okay. In terms of acting influences, I would say I was always really interested in and sort of blown away by Angelina Jolie, not only because she's just a badass, and she kind of, she's that sort of sexy, beautiful, strong female type, but also because she's really into helping others and charity and bigger causes, and I really look up to that and aspire to doing that in my own career. I don't just want to go get famous and make lots of money. No, not at all. Like I want to, as I said before, express the human experience on screen, but I also want to reach out to people. I want to help people. I want to do something with my life. I want to contribute. And so actors that have that agenda, like I was really impressed by DiCaprio, who used his entire award ceremony speech at this last year's, I believe it was Oscars, or it might have been the SAG-AFTRA Awards, to talk about climate change and to try to affect change. And I think that's just awesome, because I think that people in positions of influence, like these big actors, like these famous people, almost have a responsibility to try to reach out to the masses, and that's what I want to do.
Right. And see, that's cool, Sarah, that you said that, because a lot of actors and actresses, I don't have to name any names, you've been on set, I've been in 2 movies myself, getting ready for my 3rd, and you've seen the actors and actresses where you can tell where they're saying, I'm looking for fame, I'm looking for the money, and then you'll find that actor and actress that just love the industry that much, where they want to contribute and contribute outside of the industry also. And I can tell that you are one of them, far as it goes, that want to contribute. So, I mean, and that's cool. A lot of people feel that only time you need to act is to get famous. But if you have the love for it, I mean, it'll take you way further because producers, directors, publicists, agents, managers, people see it. They can tell the difference. You can sniff out the ones that's trying to be millionaires and the ones that actually love it. So make sure you keep that mindset, Sarah. I like how you're doing right now. Keep that mindset of trying to help out others and just doing it for the love. So please keep that going on.
I will. Thank you, Coop. I appreciate you saying that. That's a good observation to mention. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. Now, for the people that's listening worldwide right now, that's getting introduced to you for the first time, and, of course, your fans is listening right now, can you tell some of the people some of the television shows, even though I named some in the beginning, but can you tell some of them or tell the people some of the shows that you have appeared in?
Sure. I have some things coming up. I actually have quite a few television appearances coming up, and I wish I could talk more about them, but they have us on all these confidentiality agreements. But I can say keep an eye on the El Rey Network. There's a big show that's on that, and I'm not going to say what it is, but just keep an eye on it. I can also say there's going to be a new show coming out on Netflix that I have 2 episodes in, so keep an eye on Netflix TV shows that are coming out. Like I said, I really wish I could tell you details, but people may know me for, as they've seen me on Preacher most recently, I played Cindy on Munster Swamp, and possibly further, which I can't say, because again, AMC is really big on their confidentiality agreements. A lot of people know me as Brenda on Better Call Saul. I had a part in the first season of Manhattan, which was a story about the building of the atomic bomb back in the 1940s, 1950s era, and I played Vera, who's kind of this vixenous woman in the episode called The Hive. You mentioned Killer Women, which is a TV series that I think actually ended up going off air, but it it was a good one to start with. And then I was on Longmire for 2 episodes. I also did the TV movie SEAL Team 6 raid on Osama bin Laden. I did Breaking Bad, the episode 38 snub. I did In Plain Sight, and back way back a long time ago, I did the TV movie, the second Dukes of Hazzard. It's called The Beginning. On that, I
remember that.
Remember that was back in the day, huh?
Hey, that shows you have history right there, Sarah. That's cool.
Well, you know, I think I was like barely 18. That was 10 years ago, so.
Hey, and that shows if you can get into high quality like that, that shows that you do have skills. I've seen your work personally, Sarah, and I love it. So I've seen you, I've seen what you can do, and you are a great actress. I can't even front on that. So I got to give a big shout out already for all of these shows that you've been on, especially Breaking Bad. I miss that show. I really do. But, of course, you know, we got Better Call Saul, the spinoff. Now, speaking of Better Call Saul, how excited were you when you found out that you received a role up there and on Preacher?
Oh, my goodness. On Better Call Saul, when I found out I got that role, I think I ran around the house doing a happy dance, jumping around and screaming. Like, it was hysterical. And that's kind of, when I get big roles or recurring roles like that, like on the Netflix TV show that I have coming up that I was talking about, I usually just kind of lose it for a minute. I revert back to like 5 years old and turn into just, you know, freak out stage and kind of run around. And my poor agent, you know, 'cause she's on the phone when she's telling me this, and I feel like I may be a contributor to hearing loss later in her life because she probably hears me hollering on the phone so much. But when I got into Better Call Saul, my callback was with Vince Gilligan, and it was amazing. You know, I went in there and I was kind of intimidated, but at the same time, I just knew, you know what, you just got to go in there and do it. And even though both Vince Gilligan and Peter Gold were in there, I was just like, you know, whatever, these are people. And it was one of my earlier bookings, so I wasn't quite at the same comfort level that I am now. Now when I go into an audition room, it's a little bit different story. You know, I go in and I just try to show that I'm really comfortable with my job and I really enjoy it. Back then I was like, oh, I hope I don't mess up. I hope I don't, you know, make them angry or do something wrong, And I was so worried about how I was presenting myself that it was kind of hard to actually show them what I could offer. And so getting that gig, realizing that I was able to actually book it was, oh my gosh, it was such a turning point in my career. It was such a turning point.
Now, also Preacher. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm a fan of that show. I really am. Now, that show right there to me, it seems like that's something that could really happen in life some type of way. It really does. It has a realism feel to it. And what I mean by that for Preacher, you know how people say, you know, spirits will linger around and, you know, demons and all this other stuff. But I like the show because it's showing a different prospect on how some preachers actually really think. So when you actually got into that show, Preacher, did you have fun when you was on set? I really want to know that. How was the atmosphere behind the scenes?
Oh my gosh, I loved working on Preacher. So I like working on AMC shows just to begin with because I really like AMC. They've been really good to me. They're just a fantastic network. I love their shows. But Preacher, it's a little bit different. It was one of the very first shows that I've worked on where I was actually at home enough on set to be able to develop relationships with like the producers and the people that were on set, and I wasn't like terribly intimidated. You know, it's been a process. You know, as an actress, you don't just walk onto your very first set and you're like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm totally comfortable, let's do this. No, it's a process. You know, you get to a point where you can be yourself and be okay with it and know that you're not going to step on anybody's toes. But for Preacher, it was so much fun. There was so much kind of, I don't want to say play like it was unprofessional in any way, but it was, these people are at play. They are doing what they love. This is a project of passion, right? You know, Seth Rogen and the folks that put this together, Evan Goldberg and the people that put this together, they're not just like, oh, here's a way to make money. No, this for them was like a dream for many, 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 many years. And I remember when I went to the premiere for Preacher, the primary producer from AMC was giving a speech, and he was talking about this having been a 20-year in the making thing, and that really came through on set because I remember at one evening we were filming and we were kind of all packed into this hallway. I think it was actually on the episode that you've seen where me and Clive come into the hallway and see Tulip, and she's just kind of throwing some guy out the window, and we're kind of standing there just like, what the heck? And before we actually shot that moment, me and the guy who plays Clive, which is Alex Knight, we're standing in the hallway, and Dominic Cooper and his buddies come up the stairs because it's on the second level of the Toadvine house. They come up the stairs and they've got this camera, and they're just like taking pictures of everybody. And this is, I mean, I know that probably sounds really normal, you know, between me and you, but at the same time, that's not super normal for a network television show for the stars, their friends taking pictures. You know, usually that glamour is kind of not there. That not glamour, but that sort of play, that sort of fun, that sort of personal enjoyment isn't really there, and it was there for that show. And we're all just, you know, being turkeys in front of the camera and just like getting random pictures. And I just remember loving it. Just thinking, these are the kind of people I want to work with. These people love their job.
And that goes back to the passion part I was talking about. When you have the love for it, it makes time fly when you're on the set. It really does. And you can have more fun that way, so you can get really more into your character. Now, talking about your character, Sarah, tell everybody that haven't watched Preacher, tell them about Cindy.
Okay, so Cindy is one of the Toadvine girls. So if you haven't seen Preacher already, Preacher takes place in this town that there's just shenanigans going on in this town. There's a lot of quote-unquote sin. There's a lot of... The episode I'm on is called Monster Swamp, and I think that's really a figurative representation of what they're trying to convey, that this town has become kind of this swamp of monsters, you know, and monsters in the sense that the people are kind of all have these sort of ugly ulterior motives, but also swamp in the sense that the land is kind of being destroyed by this big mass meat producer, okay? And so Cindy works in this place called Toadvine, and Toadvine is a, for lack of better words, whorehouse. And there are multiple girls, many girls, I don't know, 30, 35 girls working here, and they do a lot of, how do I put this, servicing to the men that work in the meat plant. And there's a lot of gambling that goes on in this house. There's a lot of weird sex stuff that goes on in the house. There's a lot of just sort of monster swamp nonsense, you know, stuff. I don't even know what words to use unless I start cussing, and I'm not going to do that. So just nasty stuff is going on, right? And so these girls, you know, they're kind of involved in a lot of the happenings with these meat guys. So that's what we see in the beginning of the episode that I'm in, Monster Swamp, where we have the girl Lacey running through what we call the bosque, which is a part of Albuquerque that's down by the river, and so it's got all these really big trees, and it's kind of open land. It's creepy looking. So she's running through, and they're paintballing her, okay, and she falls into this hole and dies. All right, and so this is one of the ways that the girls are sort of tied in to these meat plant guys. So Cindy is another one of these girls who's kind of stuck in this whorehouse, in this Toadvine whorehouse among her, if you will, sisters, and is now, because this Lacey girl died, become Clive's interest. And so it becomes her responsibility in the episode Monster Swamp to sort of take Clive away from the action when he starts an argument with Tulip. And then Tulip, you know, out of revenge or vengeance, or just, you know, she's angry. She's a little pissant. She's real hot-headed. Like, she's going to react before she's going to. That's really what I love about Ruth Negga's character, is that she plays it so well, and she's actually such a down-to-earth person, and really at peace. But anyway, so my character Cindy takes Clive away from this, leads him upstairs. They do their business upstairs, and then all of a sudden Tulip tries to kill another guy, thinking that it's Clive. And then Clive shows up at the door like, "What are you doing?" And Tulip's like, "Oh, no, I didn't kill Clive. Great." And so Cindy sort of witnesses all this.
Man, I remember that episode. I remember that. Gosh, that was a good episode. Everybody, if you haven't seen Preacher, make sure you go watch Preacher. Check out all episodes. You can also, like I said, you'll see Sarah's work up there. And when I mean Sarah's work, I'm talking about her acting, guys. Not her character. You'll see her character too, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But you'll see her acting. You'll see all of that. Make sure you check out Preacher. Sarah, I think I walked into that one. I really do. Make sure you check it out. So, yeah. Now, Sarah, July 29th is going to be the release of The Space Between Us. Am I correct?
I think it got pushed till December.
Oh, really? It was a push?
Yeah. The last news I heard was that it was pushed till December. But I'm misquoting that, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't release The Space Between Us until... we went recently to see the movie Swiss Army Man at the theaters, and we saw the poster for The Space Between Us, and I'm pretty sure it said December. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's around the 21st of December. I'd have to look that up one more time, but it is, I believe, December.
All right. Now, people, if you all don't know what Sarah and I are talking about, there's a movie that's coming out that's called The Space Between Us. Basically, it's about the first human that was born on Mars and that travels to Earth. So if you're like a sci-fi person like I am, make sure you check this out in December when it releases. But, Sarah, I want you to go a little bit more in depth, not too much to spoil everything, but just give everybody a brief description about The Space Between Us.
Okay, so this film is semi-futuristic. I mean, you know, within the next 25 years or so it's nothing too far ahead of us. But the concept is that the human race needs to research other options for sustaining themselves, possibly on other planets. And so a team of astronauts is sent to Mars. And basically on the way to Mars, they find out that the lead astronaut is pregnant. And they, for some reason, can't turn back. They can't. It's tough. She's going to have to go to Mars and give birth on Mars and have this kid and c'est la vie. And so they arrive at Mars and they set up home there, and she has this baby. And in the process of having this baby, she dies. And don't worry, that's in the trailer, so I'm not giving away any plot points or anything. But she dies, and this kid becomes sort of the first kid Martian orphan. You know, he's kind of stuck there with these other astronauts and robot, and you know, has to live there and make a life there. And then eventually the Earth folks come back and they say, okay, we're going to bring this kid home. Let's go ahead and bring him back to Earth, and realize he's, you know, from Mars. He's never experienced anything, you know, from Earth. I think in the trailer we see him reacting to a horse for the first time, and he's like, what is that? You know, because it's just this really creepy, weird, long-legged creature coming at him, and it looks very alien to him. You know, Earth is a very alien place to him. And so it follows him and this love story of him and this Earth girl, and kind of you'll have to watch to see more on that. But I think it's going to be really, really pretty great. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to see how it came out, and it's got some great acting talent. The director, Peter Chelton, was just wonderful. So I'm very excited.
Everyone, make sure you do go check out The Space Between Us when it drops. Check out the trailer. Check it all out, guys. This is going to be a great movie, and it'll have you thinking at the same time. Like, for me, I believe when I watch the movie, I'm going to be thinking, okay, what if I was born in Mars and I came back to Earth? I mean, I would see stuff like, what the heck is a tree? I wouldn't know. So, I mean, guys, check it out. It'll make you think hard, especially if you have one of those sci-fi brains. Make sure you definitely check that out. Now, Sarah, behind the scenes, I got to ask you about this too. Behind the scenes on The Space Between Us, was it more of a weird feeling, or was it an exciting feeling? I mean, being on set?
I loved working on The Space Between Us, and I'm not just saying that at all. In the scene that I worked on, there are literally between 500 and 1,000 background actors, and it is not CG. It is live background actors, hundreds and hundreds of them. And so I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in communication, and specifically I studied interpersonal communication and public speaking. So I like public speaking, and randomly enough, this role required that I speak in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, and I was just in heaven. Now, you might think I'm crazy, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I have to get up with a microphone and speak in front of hundreds of people. This girl's crazy. But for some reason, I just thrived on it. It was such an intense feeling. I don't know if you've ever played in a band, like if you know, when you were in high school or middle school, but the feeling of making something together, like making music together, the intense sort of rush, that's how it felt. It was so intense, and I was so, oh my gosh, it was like an auto high, just being in the room with all of these people and all of these energies, and having the microphone, the one to speak. Oh gosh, it was heaven. It was amazing.
So if you could do it all over again, would you do it?
Oh, are you kidding me? I'd do it every day.
That's what I'm talking about. Once again, it's the love. Yes, it's the love. I like that. Now, we know that you, like I said, and we said at the beginning of the show, you've been in the camera from the day you popped out your mom up to now. So beyond the camera, when you're not in front of the camera, is there any projects or anything that you actually have going on for you that you're involved in?
Yes, totally. I'm done with school now, so I like I said, I went to University of New Mexico for a bachelor's degree and then a master's degree. Thank God that's done. Graduate school is wonderful, but it is brutal. But it's done.
Congrats.
So thank God that's over. But on top of that, I'm really into nature, and I'm really into plants and animals. And so in my free time, I work at Okay, everybody, hold your breath here. At a cactus and succulent nursery.
Whoa.
Now, most people are like, I'm sorry, what? But it's true. I literally work with cactus and succulents as much as I can, in my free time. And the reason I do this is because I need to be touching plants. I need to be touching the earth. I need to be working with soil and nature on a regular basis, or I will lose my mind, because the acting industry is, it's a pretty brutal industry. There's a lot of no's, there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of rejection, there's a lot of just competition and challenge, and even if you're just doing it for the passion, for the love of it, it's still a business, and
it is
challenging.
Wow. So you go from the sharks of the movie and television industry to the cactuses of the plant industry. So you're getting stuck one way or the other.
I get spines in my fingers sometimes, and it teaches me patience because I have to wait for them to come out.
Man, you know what, Sarah? I think one day somebody need to do a reality show on you just to follow you from the movie and television industry all the way to the cactus industry. You getting stuck by managers, producers, and agents. They're getting stuck by a cactus. So I think we could call it the big stick. I think that'll be perfect for you.
Actually, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, I think we need to get that set up. Whoever's listening right now, managers, agents, publicists, anybody, if you're listening right now, I think we need to make this happen, guys. Let's get this together. I'm going to start a petition. Sarah Minnich reality show. We're going to call it The Stick. Getting stuck from Hollywood all the way to a cactus. So we're going to get this on television. So you're welcome ahead of time, Sarah. Exactly. Now, Sarah, how can your fans actually find you on social media?
So it depends on what they're on. If they're on Twitter, they can find me at Sarah A. Minnich, A for Ashley. That's my middle name. I don't go by Sarah Ashley Minnich. I just go by Sarah Minnich, but it's Sarah A. Minnich on Twitter. Or on Instagram, I'm at sarah.minnich. Or on Facebook, you can search me at actress Sarah Minnich. If you just search Sarah Minnich, you'll find like 20 Sarah Minnichs. There's shockingly enough, there's like quite a few Sarah Minnichs, which I never imagined was the case. As a person with an unusual last name like Minnich, you kind of imagine that there's only like one or two Sarah Minnichs in the world, and then there was quite a few. So I was honored to have such a popular name. And people can also find me on IMDb, and that is www.imdb.me/Sarah Minnich. That's the International Movie Database. Let's see, are there any others that I'm not thinking of? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, IMDb. Yeah, that should be it.
Nice. Everybody, make sure you go follow Sarah so you can see what she's doing. Sarah has an excellent career. I can't stress that enough. And make sure you follow her on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check out her IMDb page, guys. You can learn more about her television and movie history off of that also. So follow her because she's going to the top. She's heading that way now. So make sure you follow her on all social media so you can actually watch the rise of Sarah Minnich. It's coming, guys. So make sure you do go check out all of her social media sites. So make sure you go do it. Do it right now while you're listening to this show. Now, Sarah, what is your ultimate goal as an actress?
Okay, so I want to pursue the art. I want to keep, pursuing my passion and having the chance to play, to be an actress. But more on a meta scale, on a bigger scale, I want to gain influence for the purpose of affecting change in the minds of the masses. And I mean positive change. So like I was talking about earlier with some of the big actors that use their careers and their fame and their influence to sort of promote causes that they believe in, that they think would help people on a broader scale. My cause is that I want young people, so young women, and which is my target, but also young men, to understand that even if they hit major roadblocks in life, so let's say they, when they're 18, make a massive mistake and they think, oh my gosh, it's done. I'm never going to be able to go to college, or I'm never going to be able to get a good job, or I'm never going to be able to be a mother, or I'm never going to be able to, any of the things that they decide are their dreams. I want them to realize that you can always come back. You can always come back from those things. And this stems from my personal story. When I was 18, 19 years old, I went through some really crazy stuff, which I haven't released to the world yet, but I will one day when my career is a little further along. But I thought my life was over. I thought my career was over. I thought that I would never act again. And I thought that I would never get into college. I thought that I would never be able to teach. I thought that I would always be this sort of infamous, terrible person, and I finally, after years and years of rebuilding my self-confidence and self-image and my understanding of the world and my understanding of myself, I finally realized that just because I had made a heinous mistake, a few heinous mistakes, did not mean that I couldn't come back from it. And I want other people to know that, because a lot of late teens, so like 18, 19, 20 years old, 17 years old, even down to 16 years old, they'll see themselves making these life-changing decisions. And, they'll get to a point where they're like, oh, great, it's over. I don't know what else to do. I'm stuck, and we see that the suicide rate's gone up. We see that people have dropped out of college. We see that people are just, wasting their life away with drugs and alcohol. And I want to communicate the message, should I gain influence, that is not the case. You can come back. You can still do things with yourself. If I can do it, if I can come back from what I was in and get 2 college degrees and have an acting career and be a healthy, happy person, then they can do it too. And that's what I want to do.
Nice.
With my career.
Nice. Sarah, I smell a book coming on. I definitely do. I smell a book. I'm telling you. Guys, make sure you do, once again, follow Sarah. She has an amazing story. It will be released one day, but trust me, stick around, follow Sarah from here on out, and go back to the past and look at some of her past episodes once again on various shows that she's been in and movies. Make sure you check out everything, guys. 'Cause I'm going to be sticking around. I'm going to be watching Sarah. I've been watching her already, so I'm going to continue to watch Sarah. So, Sarah, I know you're a busy woman. I'm not going to hold you up, but what advice would you give any male or female that's trying to actually come into the television and movie industry as an actor or actress?
I would give the advice of don't lay down your hand. Don't fold. Don't fold your cards. Don't give up. Because if there's one thing I've realized in this industry, there's always another role. It may take a few months. It may take a year. It may take a couple days. No matter what, there's going to be another role. You just have to be able to get through the time between the roles. So don't fold your cards. Don't lose faith in yourself. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep trying. And eventually something will come through.
Nice. Sarah, I really enjoyed you on the show today, and I would love to have you back in the future, back on the show.
Yeah, I'd love that.
All right. Guys, once again, before the show ends, I just want to say big shout out to everyone that's out there in the movie and television industry that's actually doing something positive. Continue to do what you do. Sarah Minnich, big shout outs to you also. You're doing big things, girl. Continue to go down this path, and I'm telling you, bigger things are coming for you. You already know it also, the projects that you can't speak on. I'm going to just say congratulations ahead of time, because when they come out to the public, oh boy, people will still be flocking on you more and more. So big shout outs to you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, because I really enjoyed interviewing with you, and I appreciate you asking such insightful questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys and ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have a great night. Until next time on the Big Scoop with Coop.
Bye.